Hi, welcome to Redwood National and State Parks. My name is Ranger Greg. Let me ask you a question. If you were walking through these woods and you heard in the distance the sound of chainsaws, how would you feel? I bet you'd have some questions. Well, humans and redwoods, we've got a long and complicated history. In the forest around me, there's about 10 large, wide trees per acre. There's a lot of light. You might notice a lot of open space. There's a great diversity of the plants and animals found here. It's just really fun to visit. It's great for hide and seek. It's probably even awesome for Ewoks. These ancient forests require just the right ingredients of temperature, soil, climate, and weather. Plenty of summer fog, lots of winter rain. There's not a lot of places in the world that have all these conditions. What's interesting to realize is only half of Redwood National and State Parks is old-growth forests like this. When you visit, you're going to find a lot of different landscapes, from coastline to rivers, mountains, prairies, hills and valleys. And for at least 10,000 years, people have been utilizing and changing this environment. Native Americans would use fire to keep the prairies open. A lot of logging occurred in the 20th century. Before the state and national parks were created, up to 95% of the old-growth redwood forests were cut down. The demand for that lumber was so high. So what remains in that once logged landscape we call second growth. It's a very different looking and feeling type of forest. Have a look around. There is something missing here. I'm still inside the national park, but there are no skyscraper trees. This is typical of a second growth forest, and this area was logged after World War II. A lot of Douglas fir trees were planted afterwards. We have about 1,000 trees per acre in the second growth forest. Means there's not much diversity. The trees are the same width, the same height. It's not a healthy habitat for wildlife. Even walking through here is a completely different experience for you and I. It's fine if you are growing trees to farm, but Redwoods National Park, we're not about farming trees. We're about protecting the ecosystem. So what should we do? Since the 1990s, foresters and scientists have been discovering ways to restore an old-growth forest from an area that had been logged. What it means is using chainsaws and other forestry equipment that once clear-cut a landscape. We need to thin some trees. Thinning of trees allows the remaining trees to have plenty of light and space to grow tall and wide. In this process, 95% of the trees that are thinned are Douglas fir. No redwoods are ever targeted. Inside the national park, we also have some experimental plots where rangers are using fire and thinning to find the best solution to turn this landscape back into an old-growth, healthy forest. So what have we learned? Well, we know we're getting the ingredients right to resurrect an old-growth forest from a landscape that had been logged. It means we need to use chainsaws and science and have patience. This will take our lifetime. Even though 95% of the old-growth forests have been logged, what remains is still the soil, the topography, and the climate, and the summer fog. Those are the ingredients those redwoods need to grow tall and wide. There's a reason to be hopeful. We are lucky that we have these redwood groves. They're important for the ecosystem. They also provide humans a sense of wonder and mystery and peace and intrigue. And thanks to good science and rangers with chainsaws, we are restoring a landscape. So when you come in the future, maybe as a visitor or a hologram, you will find a lot more redwoods than has been seen for at least a generation.